coconut chocolate bars.
Yep.
Your food label.
So my name's Hakeem.
I'm Robert.
And we're going to be talking to you about 3 different chocolate bars that we decided to go test on. So this is our little video.
Yes.
Alright, so the first product we have is the endangered species chocolate coconut cream filled, which is 72% cocoa. Then we have the organic fair trade coconut, 70%. And then we have the Lily's dark chocolate, which is 55%. And has stevia
instead of sugar
and all those. But we'll get into all the ingredients in the next slides.
Alright, so this is sample A, the endangered species chocolate. As well, I don't know if you can read from here, but we're going to take you on a little ingredient journey. So this one has dark chocolate, and within the dark chocolate they used chocolate liquor, which is the ground up cocoa bean, so it's kind of a bit of the nib, a bit of cocoa butter ground up. There's cane sugar, or just sugar, cocoa butter, soy lecithin and vanilla. The soy lecithin is used to just make a cohesive chocolate product. And the cocoa butter gives us a sharp
melting point.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that the chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Then next there's powdered sugar. So this is the only one that had powdered sugar, which will kind of come into play when we look at mouthfeel and flavor ratings within our test subjects. Then everything's kind of pretty standard here. Just regular sugar, coconut milk, which was used to impart the coconut flavor. Then this one has guar gum. This is the only one of the chocolates that had a gum in it. And again, this contributes to the texture and mouthfeel. And yep, then there's some more sweeteners. There's some tapioca syrup, palm oil, which is another lipid, and sunflower lecithin. So again, we have 2 emulsifiers in this chocolate. So that was kind of a really cool difference.
So before we go on to sample B, forgot to talk about the manufacturing of chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, I don't know how we just skipped over that. But first with chocolate, it's harvested. So you go out and you're gonna go pick the actual cocoa pod, and you'll retrieve the beans within that. Then after you do that, you're gonna ferment the cocoa beans for a few days, and after that phase or period, you're gonna dry it. So after that drying, it's going to go into the manufacturing phase. This is the manufacturing phase where it's going to be processed in actual chocolate. But within manufacturing, there's 3 key important aspects to that. You have the roasting. That's where you're going to extract the flavor from the cocoa beans. Then you're going to grind it, so trying just another method for extracting the flavor out. And then once you do that, you're going to have all the other components blended in with the chocolate, and then you're going to essentially make the chocolate bar, or chocolate that we know as today. So it goes from on the plant or the tree to in our hands as well. Not in our hands right now, but
in my hands.
Yeah.
As far as the picture.
It goes in our mouths. So that's that.
One more interesting thing. So the chocolate liquor, which was when we were doing our research, one thing I thought was cool. Cause there's chocolate liquor and chocolate liqueur, and chocolate liquor does not have alcohol in it, and it's produced during that grind phase of manufacture that Hakeem mentioned.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
it's pretty cool stuff.
Right. So now we have sample B. So this is probably the least processed out of all 3 products that we have. So this is the 7% dark chocolate one. The Theo. So the ingredients in this one just have cocoa beans, cane sugar, toasted coconut, cocoa butter, ground vanilla bean, and just coconut. So literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients in just this product itself, as compared to the other ones, which had 10 or more ingredients.
Yeah. And another cool thing we'll see when we get to our statistical analysis is, oftentimes people they like the idea of less processed foods, but does it always translate to the best flavor or the best perception of flavor if people don't know where the product came from?
Exactly.
So we'll take a look at that.
Yeah. So in a few slides, you're going to see the results of all of those.
And then so we have sample C, which was really kind of really popped out in the store when we were picking our products. This one, so yes, this has no sugar added, but it has no sugar at all. Or, well, yeah, there's sugar in some of them, because it's plants. But it's got unsweetened chocolate, has inulin, which also appears often as chicory root fiber. Inulin is really cool because it is an oligofructosaccharide, so it's an oligosaccharide made of fructose, which, as we discussed in class, is sweeter than the sucrose. And it is a, what's the word? Fiber, that's the word I wanted.
Fiber, yeah.
So, that's a fiber, yeah. Fiber.
Yeah.
So it doesn't impart calories on the product, but it does give sweetness to the product.
Mm-hmm.
And it is also a prebiotic, which is a side note, but it, in our research we found that it helps to proliferate the beneficial gut flora.
A microbiota.
Yeah, so as
cool
nutrition
stuff.
people, it's kind of really cool to us.
Yeah.
Then we have our dextrins, which are there for both to inhibit crystal formation and to give bulk, because we're not using the sugar that we would use in another product. Erythritol, which is a 4-carbon sugar alcohol, which is really cool. There's a problem with sugar alcohols where oftentimes it gives people diarrhea, but erythritol is a small enough molecule to be absorbed through the intestinal mucosa, but it is not metabolized and it gets excreted in the urine.
Exactly.
So you get the added sweetness without the added calories. Then we have cocoa butter, like the other two chocolates, for that sharp melting point. Then we have coconut milk, coconut flavor. This one has milk fat, so that was another difference. So I think you really see the milk fat difference in the mouthfeel. And then stevia extract, which is another non-sugar sweetener.
Alright, so now we're going to go into statistical analysis. We're going to do a quick run through of all the tests that we did. We did mean averages of all of them, and then we're going to explain to you the potential reasoning as to why the values that we got were essentially the numbers that are on the graph. Alright, so as you can see, we tested appearance, mouthfeel, sweetness, and flavor overall for our 3 samples. And on the graph, we have it labeled on, well, we tested it from a 0 to 9 scale, as 0 being horrible and 9 being you absolutely loved it. We kind of just gave you the bulk of most of our data, which appears to be from about 5.5 area upwards until the 7.8. So, also, with the colors, sample A, you're having blue, sample B, you're having red, and sample C, you're going to have the yellowish orange type. And Robert's going to explain to you the results and the data within that.
Alright, so the first question asked was, how do you rate the appearance of this product from would you not buy it based on appearance, or would you definitely buy it? And as you can see, like, they all kind of look the same appearance-wise, and that I think is due to, they all use cocoa butter as the main lipid source, and as we talked about in class, you get the usually beta prime to beta crystallization, which ends up giving you kind of that chocolate sheen, because you get the fat bloom. So as you can see, they kind of all scored very similarly as far as appearance, but sample A did score first, and that was the endangered species one, which had a couple of modifiers, and it had the 2 types of lecithin, both soy and sunflower.
There we go.
So, so it's kind of cool to see that. Next we have mouthfeel. Again, sample A comes in first, but sample C is in a close second. And those were the 2 most processed of the chocolates, and as you can see, sample B is down here, kind of left in a distant third.
And then for a sweetness factor, we have sample C, which scores significantly higher than the rest of them. And that's the one that had the erythritol and the stevia and all those other non-caloric sweeteners. So that's going to add to the sweetness factor overall, more so than just the ones that had sugar or just regular caloric sweeteners intact. Yep. So the separation is quite evident. So those factors or those ingredients definitely did play a role and help with regards to the sweetness factor that people tasted.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny that the one without sugar, which is the thing that we all think of as a sweetener, is by far the most popular as far as sweetness.
Yep. And then for flavor, just overall how you like the product more so. So generally when you're looking for chocolate, you're going to want something that's kind of related to sweetness, so you're going to want a really sweet chocolate. So that ranked highest again with sample C, and then the rest of them kind of down below, kind of the same category. So for the overall average of the scores, you can definitely see that Sample C kind of did the best in most of the categories, and the rest of them are kind of same in par. And then one thing that we would like to note is that Sample B, which was the least processed or one with the least amount of ingredients, did the worst. So it's kind of something that you kind of look at in the manufacturing or the food industry as to how it actually relates to like quality of product and how people actually perceive and taste it.
One side note I'd like to. So we had 6 subjects. I would like to see, if we had the money to do a bigger trial, because the bars break into a certain amount of pieces. But because they were all dark chocolate bars, and dark chocolate tends to be a little more bitter than your like a Hershey bar, say. I think it would be interesting if we could find people who were more into dark chocolate than just 6 random people that we could find.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to see if these flavor scores would change, because maybe some people who like dark chocolate aren't necessarily looking for a sweetness. They might want that bitterness. But it is cool kind of just seeing how, as a manufacturer, this information is really, really hits home. And you're like, what do just the normal people want?
And from what it appears, they want the ones that are added with more kind of sweeteners or things that give the perception of sweetness. And even if you're a health fanatic or you like healthier products, you're probably going to be taking a dip in terms of the flavor and taste for the overall health factor, which may not even be that different, because these are non-caloric sweeteners that were added, and it's not really adding anything overall to your calories or anything like that in terms of energy expenditure. So they rate pretty fair in terms of, I would say, in terms of health to your body. Just all depends on your personal preference, but as you can see, we talked about the sugar ones with the stevia and erythritol did the best.
Yeah. And again, the inulin, which is really cool, it's considered a functional food product because it doesn't impart calories, but it does give you the sweetness and the fiber activity. So I just thought that was really cool. I think it's a thing that's getting added to more foods because it gives sweetness, and it's pretty much has 0 downside as a food additive.
Alright. So it was a good project. We learned a lot. I learned a good amount about the processing of chocolate. Didn't really know how you actually get it from a tree. It's like in this big pod and then transforms into like a bar. So that was really good learning about that process. Pretty much it. I think we hit all the points, hopefully. So that's the entire project. We didn't want to write a paper because there's we can do a lot better. We're just explaining it with some graphics and doing it really short and minimalistic, presenting it to you with a video. So that's the route we chose. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you give us a really good grade. So that's that. Thanks.